We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I don't know if you guys had the opportunity to look at all these. I didn't have a concern.
I had none.
Go ahead and start signing.
All these, it's new to have so many temps for the event center. This is
Yeah, the event center.
I like the way they're doing it.
I voted no on that. Do I sign that one?
No question. No comment.
When there's a vote, isn't it? We all back it after that?
True. True. All right, John, here comes a pile for you.
I'm ready.
That last one's upside down, so you have to lift up the blank page.
Can you hear me what you're talking about?
He's talking trash.
These are all salary approval forms.
That's what, we got a million of those things.
Yep.
I mean, that's a good problem to have.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we approve the salary rate approval forms as presented.
Have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, looks like we'll move right into our work session. Scott?
Good morning, Commissioners. Scott Crowther, Event Director, Business Manager.
Curtis Austin, I'm Mountain Riders.
So every year, the 4-H, we have the little 4-H arena that's kind of off to the side of all the rest of our arenas. And the 4-H comes up and uses it. Curtis comes up and runs a program up there a couple times, or once a week, for most of summer, well, from May to August. So we are requesting a fee waiver for the use of arena number 3. And do you want to talk a little bit about the program, what you do?
It's a Forest 4-H club. I've ran it for, I don't know, it seems like 2 days short of forever. Doing it for quite a while. The kids, I get a lot of young kids learning to ride. It's a great program for them.
How many kids do you have?
Last I looked, I think there's 7 or 8 riding this year, and I got a couple others that do chicken and sheep and stuff. So.
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna say, do you have any setup or takedown for any of this?
No, so that arena is
No man's land?
specifically for 4-H stuff. Yeah, every now and again, if we have like a really, really big event, we'll rent it out as a loping arena with like our really big rodeos. But more often than not, this is really its purpose.
Do you have to groom it?
We do, yeah. It's kind of a different base, so we don't groom it to the same level. It's a pretty fast groom for us, but it's just dry. so it takes a little bit of water, but it's a really simple, quick turn and burn for us. They're not really, they're just really appreciative of the use, so.
And when you're, when
When
you're,
your tractor, if you get me.
when you're in there, are you in there for a day or just a few hours?
It's from 6 to dark usually.
Okay.
I try to be out of there before dark because I could have worked the next day.
There's no lights in that arena either,
Right,
so.
right,
Yeah.
okay. That's all I have.
Okay. Any questions? And this isn't the first time you've come before us either.
No, it's not.
And, but we appreciate it, and we've always encouraged the help and the cleanup and everything else that goes along with it. I'd ask for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to go ahead and approve the fee waiver for the 4-H club.
We have a motion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See ya. Yeah, take care. This next fee waiver is not like how I usually like to do business. This event has already occurred up in the B building. This is the people that came and went through the photographs at Highland High School. They needed a place out of the weather to look at the photographs and separate them out, and they asked if they could use B building. They came in on a Wednesday to use it on a Thursday. And so I'm requesting a fee waiver for access that I've already granted.
It's a good thing they've had a fire.
Yeah.
That school has taken advantage of us a couple of times,
Yeah.
but I have a soft heart today.
We'll just take it out of your check, okay?
Okay.
It's just,
They used it for 1/2 of 1 hour. So.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we approve the fee waiver request as presented.
We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
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 And that is all I have today.
All right, thank you.
Thanks. You're next.
All right.
Tristan Borkwin, Assistant Director for Planning and Development.
Chase Clark, building official.
So we have 2 updates for you today. Our first update is for our CityWorks implementation for the new permitting portal that we're working through. So we submitted to you our timeline for CityWorks, so we just wanted to get in front of you today and let you know that we're in the process of implementing that, and our goal is to have it fully implemented by October 1. And at that same time is when we'll be done with our current permitting portal for OpenGov. We conducted our 3 days of training last Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That went really well. Our brains are fried, but we are working through all of the bugs, and we went live on Monday for our beta testers. So we have a group of, I think, about 8 people, a couple of surveyors, a couple of contractors and builders that are beta testing for us between May 1st and July 6th, so that we can hopefully get all of those bugs ironed out before we go live with the rest of the county. So if you have any questions for me, I can answer those.
Just tell us a little bit about the process and what you've experienced, and the little
Yeah.
pros and cons.
Yeah, so we started our CityWorks implementation last February, so a little over a year ago. And Chase and I, we've done a lot of meeting together and hashing out pros and cons between the 2 softwares. And we found that we were really trying to make something perfect that we just, until you implement, you don't know what all of the bugs are going to be. But one of the things that we came to a conclusion of was the CityWorks program will offer quite a bit of pros to what our current OpenGov program offers. So there's a larger integration with our GIS maps where we can actually see those permits on the map. We can see open permits, we can see closed permits, we can see structures that maybe don't have a permit through that map, all through this new CityWorks program that we currently don't have with OpenGov. And there's also integration with Road and Bridge, where Road and Bridge is using CityWorks for their asset management software. They have better integration with us when they go through and do approach approvals and subdivision plats and those kinds of things. And then one of the other features that I think will be really helpful is dashboards. So we can actually program our own dashboards to see how many number of open applications we have, how many permits we've issued in a month, and I think it'll help us be more efficient than we are currently.
Would you also talk about what it means to the end user, your trial group? What does it mean to them?
Yeah, so we actually have set up a questionnaire for our beta testers right now so that we can get some feedback from them on what do they like about the application process, what do they don't like, what are some of the things that we could maybe fix. And I think ultimately for the end user, we're hoping after this beta testing group that we're going to iron out all of those bugs, and it should be a pretty seamless process for them to apply their dashboard. They have their own dashboard that they can actually see what step the application is in the process. They can see comments that we've made, edits to documents that they need to complete, things like that.
And if they have multiple projects, they can see them all on one screen.
They can see them all on one screen. There's even the option, so we have a couple of contractors who build the same house on 5 different parcels, and it'll actually give them the ability to duplicate it. So instead of filling out an application 5 times, they can say create 5 of this same application, and it'll do it all for them. So that'll help with their efficiency as well.
And then part of the, if I may, part of the integration with GIS is that we're able to actually input information automatically into the permits that we need to know without the user, the applicant, having to dig in and know exactly what is your, I mean, nobody knows. They know their address, they don't know their parcel number. So there's a lot of homework that's done on the applicant side to even fill out and submit an application. And we're hoping with the GIS integration, actually we're not hoping, we've already implemented some of the items of, what is your zoning, what is your fire district, what's your parcel number. At the very beginning of an application, they select a location. That location automatically gives that information to the applicant's application, and so it's already inputted.
Cool.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. So on to our next update. The next update we have for you is our ordinance rewrite. So last month, we conducted all of our public outreach information. We had all of our open house meetings in each of the cities. And I have a PowerPoint presentation for you. So you have in your packet some graphs that are difficult to see, so I thought it might be easier to be able to see them on the big screen. The text on your documents are kind of small, so do you want to, is it open larger so we can go to the next? Do you want me to come over here?
Yep. For sure running that. That's why I switched it.
Okay, so throughout this project, I've created this wildly important goal, so that's something that I just want to keep at the forefront of staff's mind, and so I thought I would share that with you as well. So our wildly important goal for this whole project is to repeal the 1997 subdivision ordinance, the 1998 zoning ordinance, and to adopt the 2024 land use and development ordinance, hopefully by January 2nd, 2024. So we have just completed our gather phase of the project. We held our open house survey in March of 2022, and we had about 707 responses on that. And we conducted the zoning survey in March of 2023, and we received approximately 186 responses on that one. And then we also conducted a SWOT analysis on the entire county during our open houses, and we received 31 responses on that. I have to give a shout out to Emma, our public information officer. She helped put all of those surveys together for us, put them on the website, and so I don't think we would have had as nearly as many responses if we didn't have help from her on that one. This first graph here is our land use and development ordinance timeline. So you can see January 2023, this year, we had a kickoff meeting, and we're currently in our end of our public outreach, and we're looking to start going through the review. We're about, I would say, 90% complete with the first very rough draft of the ordinance. And then we will send that off to our advisory committee, where they will actually take a few weeks and give us edits and updates, and then we'll just keep going through that process over the next few months. In about September, we will conduct a second round of open houses where we will actually hopefully have a more finalized draft of that ordinance, where people could actually then make comments on what we've written and give us some updated information. I also have a scorecard that is posted in our office for our staff to see, where we can actually see how we're doing on our timeline. Are we behind schedule? Are we ahead of schedule? So the blue is the dates of everything that I've scheduled to hope to have everything done, and the orange is actually the time that it was completed. So right now, we've had a couple of things that we've been behind schedule on, but for the most part, we are on schedule with everything for the rewrite. Our open houses were conducted all through April. In Marsh Valley, we had 9 people in attendance, but we did close early due to our winter apocalypse. And then Chubbuck was also canceled due to weather. In Lava, we had approximately 20 people in attendance. Aramo, approximately 12. McCammon, we had approximately 5. Inkom, approximately 24. And City of Pocatello, approximately 31, for a total of about 101 people overall who showed up to those open houses.
Heard a lot of positive responses from the south end of the county on that.
Yeah, we had a lot of good feedback and information. So now we're at that point where we have to go through all of that data that we collected and determine what needs to be put into the ordinances. This is our current zoning map, and this is something that we actually had posted at all of the open houses, and we had a little sign that said, place a blue pin in the areas that you like the current zone, and place a red pin in the areas where you don't like the current zone. So you can see in there on that picture a couple of those blue and red pins, and so now those are the areas that we'll focus on first, and we will compare them to all of the research that we've already done as part of the comprehensive plan, and going through that future land use map and looking at those areas to see, are those areas of future growth that we need to pay more attention to? Are those areas that maybe we didn't do all of the research that we needed to through the comprehensive plan, and do we need to maybe look at changing some of those? So at our next set of open houses, we'll actually have our proposed zoning map so that people can then do this same thing, review that zoning map and give us that feedback. And then we also offered a wildlife habitat information poster that showed the areas, the different areas of wildlife habitat. So those circle areas are where our sharp-tailed grouse leks are. The greenish color is where the deer winter ranges are. And then the lightish yellow-orangish down south, that's where all of the elk winter habitat is. So we asked Idaho Fish and Game if they could put all of that data onto one map, and so this is the map that they gave to us, so that we could let people view this to see where are the more dense areas of wildlife habitat, and how can we use that information to create open space ordinances that make sense instead of just a broad open space ordinance. And then we also, like I said earlier, did that county-wide SWOT. So our advisory committee conducted the SWOT analysis at their first meeting, and this image is of their SWOT analysis that they completed. So we had a poster at each of the open houses with the advisory committee's SWOT analysis so that people could get their brains thinking and how would they want, what are some things that they wanted us to look at as well. And so that's where we got those 31 responses for the SWOT analysis that individual county residents conducted for us. So, and that is all that I have for our ordinance rewrite update. Do you have any questions for me regarding that?
No, that's cool.
I, just in your paperwork here, one page I turned to is floodplain development.
Yes, yes.
And what a year to be able to look that over. I mean, I see a lot of places that people have wanted to build or have built, and now the truth is coming out of, and this isn't a massive flood at this time either.
Right.
So it was just interesting that that's the first page I turned to.
Yeah.
A lot of phone calls I've received in the last few days.
Yep. Yeah, we've received a few ourselves, so.
Yeah. John?
So I'm going to back up to one of your earlier statements. So I think you said you're going to rewrite this in sections by chapter. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And then after you do your rewrite in your office, then it goes to this this team. What's that team called again?
The advisory committee.
Advisory committee. And you're going to do that chapter by chapter?
Yeah, so we've already sent them the first 3 chapters of the draft. But we are now almost to the point of just being able to actually send them an entire draft document of both of those, the zoning and subdivision compiled together. And then we can give them about 3 weeks. We're hoping to get some feedback to us to go through and edit that for us and give us some comments. We do already have some comments from Becky Johnson with Idaho Fish and Game and Stuart Ward with Dioptra. So those are 2 of the members that we have on the advisory committee, and they've already done edits on the first 3 chapters and have given us some updates on that. So we're just gonna go bit by bit and whittle it down and hopefully end up with a really clean document that more than our office has looked at and had hands on. So.
And then the plan is, then it sounds like you're going to get an entire document here fairly soon?
Yeah, so we're hoping to have more of a final draft by early September, when we can then conduct another round of open houses at each one of those communities, where we would actually have a draft document for them to review and look at, and also for public to review. Yes.
How many pages is it going to be?
200 and something pages, probably.
This will be
So-
posted somewhere on the internet?
It will, yeah. So I'm actually working with Emma on creating a website just for the ordinance rewrite, where we can actually post updated information, give them updates on timeline, where we're at in the timeline, and then that's where we'll also have a copy of the draft ordinance as well as the draft zoning map.
And this is about the 1st of September you'll have this done?
Yeah.
And then how long does the public have to comment, or anyone have to comment on this once it's posted?
So probably 1 to 2 months, depending on how those open houses get scheduled. This time, I think we got kind of lucky and got all of those open houses scheduled 2 a week for a month, depending on how the scheduling will work at each of the little cities. It could extend out into more of a 2-month timeline. And then that's just for our open house comment section. They will still have opportunity to comment after that when we start going through public hearings. So they'll still have the opportunity during council. The Planning and Development Council will go through a public hearing portion where they will also make comments and edits, and the public can attend those meetings. And then again, when it comes in front of the commission, those will also be public hearings.
And so at what point would it come before the commission?
I'm hoping in November or December.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, may I have a personal minute, please?
Yes, you may.
Chase and Lisa, will you please come up? Come on up over here. When I started as a commissioner, one of the things we wanted to do is make Bannock County a leader in the state. And as part of that, we developed some commissioner coins for people that we feel go above and beyond the call of duty and what they do, and we wanted to take an opportunity to recognize them. Our first recipient of a commissioner's coin was Julie in elections for what she did in the last year in the election season, and it was a phenomenal job. I wanted to recognize Chase and Elise because the work they're doing with the CityWorks implementation. And the reason I wanted to recognize them is about 2 months ago, they came to me and said, Commissioner Huff, we don't want to implement CityWorks. It doesn't work right, it's ugly. They just didn't like it. They liked what they had. And my question was, does it take us forward or backwards? And they both at that time said, it takes us backwards. And I said, great, I'll support you. Even though we've invested some money, customer service is first. But if you guys would just take one more look at it and then come back in a couple weeks and let me know what you decide. Well, about a month later, they came to my office with long faces and said, Commissioner Huff, we've got a decision for you. And I was ready for them, and they said, but you're not going to like it because we've decided to go with CityWorks. And I was excited, but I wasn't excited for the reason you'd think. I was excited because last year we did a DISC assessment training, and we did a personality, that's DISC assessment is personalities and things like that. Their office took it to heart, and as they were doing some in-house DISC training, they realized that the reason they were choosing the old way is because that was something that they were comfortable with. And so they started talking about that in the office, and then Hal Jensen, their supervisor, gave them a book about change management, and they went, this is us. We're having an issue with change management. So they went back and they re-looked. They did the whole process over from the start. They evaluated each program, had the sales teams come in, went through the whole process again. And during that time, we had the process management class. And so Elise, the graph that you saw today was a process or a result of going through that. So what made me so excited about what they're doing and why I wanted to give them coins today is because we provided them with tools. They used it to make a fantastic decision and move the county forward. And as you heard today, they've got a test group that's using this so they can get feedback and go forward. I was just so proud. I almost cried that day because I was so excited. So I had to tell Ernie and John, and both of them supported me in offering these coins. So please, Tristan, I'm nervous. I don't do it very often. Chase,
Thank you.
thank you. Appreciate your efforts. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Come over here.
Make sure I'm out of the way.
And Tristan, I'm sorry.
You're good. You can say, I'll go over here.
Okay, hold on.
You're making great progress.
1, 2, 3.
Thank you.
All right, Jessica.
Good morning. I'm Jessica Strange, the chair of the Bannock County Board of Guardians. Today, I'm bringing forward, we have 3 applicants. Oh,
Let me
Yes.
hold up just a second here.
yes.
We don't need to mention anybody's names right now, okay? And if we don't, then we can stay in here. If we're going to talk about individuals or concerns, then we need to go into executive session
Yes.
and invite others to leave the room.
Yes. I don't think we're going to talk about any of our protected people.
Well, even
Anybody.
the
Even the-
applicants and
okay.
stuff. If there's things you want to talk about certain ones or certain
Okay.
people,
Yes.
then I would just go into executive session.
Probably a good idea.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we go into executive session under Idaho Code 74-2061 A and B.
Commissioner Huff,
Yes.
Commissioner Moser,